It is my pleasure to announce that this year's B. Lerner Award goes to actress, singer, and advocate Mandy Moore. Hi there, Mandy. Congratulations. I wish I could give it to you in person. And we hope your millions we hope your followers and our gala guests are lighting up Twitter and Instagram as we speak. Mandy, I know you have your own star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, right? That was last year.
I do, yes.
Okay. You've won 2 Screen Guild Actor Awards. That's important. Nominated for the Golden Globe Award for Best Supporting Actress. See, I've done my homework. I want to know what this award means to you, and does it validate your portrayal of Rebecca Pearson?
I am unbelievably honored and taken aback. This award means so much, coming from Us Against Alzheimer's, an organization that I just hold in such high regard. It's remarkable. I mean, to be a 36-year-old woman portraying, a woman who's a little advanced in her years, who's a mother and a grandmother, and has been on an exceptional journey on this particular television show. But now to be able to sort of find the space to delve into this story, this narrative that resonates with so many people, unfortunately and fortunately, across the country, is just an enormous honor.
You know, it's very touching, Mandy, for so many of us, because fortunately you don't have Alzheimer's in your family. So where do you draw your role models from for Rebecca's character, not only as she ages, but also her descent into Alzheimer's?
Yeah, I mean, so much is owed to the writers. They are just exceptional on every level, and the way they sort of have plotted out this particular story is so accurate. I think accuracy is really important. I know that when kind of delving into this particular storyline, there were neurologists conferred with. There was actually neurologists on set with us when we shot like particular scenes. You know, just even to get it correct where how the doctor would conduct testing in terms of like early diagnosis, where the family would sit to receive the news, how I would be completing the test. I think it's always been important for us, sort of the key for our show is really being able to handle complicated issues with poise and grace, and being able to show sort of the full range of what human beings are going through. And although we've just seen, I think, a fraction of this journey with Rebecca and sort of her delving into getting this diagnosis and how that's going to sort of affect her life as she goes on and moves forward, it's going to be fascinating and heartbreaking, and all of the things that we've all come to know from this insidious disease.
Now, you know, we're a really tough audience because we live it and we know the nuances. So you have to really be good at it. You had 7.9 million people watching your last episode where you were in a hospital bed surrounded by your family. Now, that dynamic tension and that portrayal of how the children react it's a disease that impacts families, not just the individual. Yeah. And I think we've captured that. You've got a son, Kevin. He wants to give you the best of life for as long as you have it. And then you have Randall, and Randall really wants you to get into a clinical trial. He's doing the best. All these dynamic tensions that happen in a family. Did your fellow actors realize that the arc of your story would affect how their characters developed?
I think we're all pretty well versed on, the idea that like how interconnected all of our stories are. So yes, I think in that regard, they were aware that the repercussions, I guess, of what their characters were sort of expressing and going through was going to have ramifications for my character and her choices. I think that's also sort of the trick of our show is, I think it's been important for us to want to destigmatize this conversation, and the embarrassment, the shame, the guilt, the anger, the anxiety, all of the range of emotions I think that come along with a diagnosis, not just for the person who's been diagnosed, but obviously, like you just mentioned, for the family. And being able to recognize that living in the now, my character's choice of sort of this acute realization of no more next times, time is the most valuable resource that she has on her side, is what gives her this sense of inner peace, and I think sort of sets her on this particular path. And her family kind of has no choice but to sort of heed her wishes in that regard. And I think, we have the opportunity with millions of people that watch our show and 30 some odd episodes, 30 some odd hours of television left over the next couple of years to sort of tell this story with accuracy, and heart and compassion. And I have this idea that, we're not going to sort of, although our show sort of jumps around in time, I think we're going to show in real time what happens to this family. Whether there's a move forward with a clinical trial or not, whether Rebecca's choices are sort of honored. It will be interesting to sort of see how it unfolds, but I hope that there's resonance with people who've been in this position before. They recognize themselves and the choices these characters are making in their own lives.
How would you describe the dynamic between you and your fellow actors? Are you like a family? What's the energy?
We're very much like a family. We've been doing it for 5 seasons now together, and we love each other, and we sort of have ridden this unbelievable wave together. And we also, I think, are really good about giving each other space. Like, these are not easy topics that we deal with on our show, whether it's addiction, now dementia, race relations, we just sort of cover the gambit of things. And we're all human beings dealing with different things in our own lives to varying degrees. And I think we're all very good about giving each other space and grace, to sort of get through the tougher moments. I know, for instance, like last season, a little bit of that scene that you sort of showed a clip of, when my character sort of finally admits to her child, to the one child who sort of recognized that something was off with his mother, and that was because he wasn't with her day to day. So, going weeks or months at a time without seeing one another, it was maybe a little bit easier for him to pinpoint that something was off with mom. That scene was so heavy and emotional, just sort of as a human recognizing like the weight of what this woman is admitting to her child and admitting to herself. And I remember holding it back in the particular moment. And then when we were done shooting and they moved on to the next scene, I just erupted in emotion. I got back to the confines of my little trailer and just let myself really feel everything, because we're not immune to it. It definitely it affects us as much as I think, it affects people watching it at home.